All right, folks, gather round. We need to talk about something important. No, not the latest TikTok dance craze or your neighbor's questionable lawn ornaments. We're talking about cybersecurity in banking. Picture this. You're sitting on your couch enjoying a nice cup of tea when suddenly, bam, your phone buzzes. It's your bank. They're telling you that someone in Timbuktu just bought a yacht using your life savings. Not cool, right? That's where cybersecurity comes in. It's like the bouncer at the club of your money, keeping out the riffraff and making sure your hard-earned cash doesn't end up funding someone else's midlife crisis. So, buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to dive into the wild world of cybersecurity in banking. Now let's talk about the bad guys. No, not your ex who still has your Netflix password. We're talking about cyber criminals, the digital desperados of our time. These folks aren't breaking into banks with ski masks and guns. Oh no, they're much cooler than that. They're sitting in their mom's basement wearing pajamas, hacking into financial systems faster than you can say password 123. In recent years, these cyber villains have been busier than a cat in a room full of laser pointers. Take the 2017 Equifax breach, for example. These hackers managed to steal personal data from 147 million people. That's more people than the entire population of Russia. Imagine if every Russian suddenly knew your social security number and what you bought on Amazon last week. Terrifying, right? But wait, there's more. In 2020, we had the SolarWinds attack. This wasn't just any old hack. This was the Ocean's 11 of cyber attacks. The hackers managed to slip malicious code into a software update, affecting thousands of organizations, including multiple parts of the US federal government. And let's not forget about ransomware. In 2021, Colonial Pipeline, a major US fuel pipeline, was hit with a ransomware attack that caused fuel shortages across the East Coast. It's enough to make you want to stuff your money in a mattress and go live in a cave, isn't it? Now you might be thinking, John, this is all very scary. Can't we just go back to using seashells as currency? Well, unless you want to carry around a beach's worth of shells every time you go shopping, we need to face this cyber threat head on. That's where robust cybersecurity comes in. It's like building a digital fortress around your money, complete with moats, dragons, and maybe a few strategically placed Lego bricks for good measure. Imagine you're a bank. You've got billions of dollars in assets, millions of customers, and more sensitive information than a teenager's diary. Now imagine all of that being protected by a single door with a keep out sign. That's essentially what weak cybersecurity is like. Strong cybersecurity, on the other hand, is like having Fort Knox, Alcatraz, and the Pentagon all rolled into one, guarding your financial data. It's not just about keeping the bad guys out, it's about detecting threats, responding to attacks, and constantly evolving to stay one step ahead of the cyber criminals. All right, let's break down this cybersecurity thing. Cybersecurity, in its simplest form, is the practice of protecting systems, networks, and programs from digital attacks. It's like a digital immune system constantly on guard against viruses, but instead of protecting your body, it's protecting your bank account. In the world of banking, cybersecurity is more important than a coffee maker on a Monday morning. Banks deal with a treasure trove of sensitive information. Your personal details, account numbers, transaction history, and let's not forget, your actual money. All of this juicy data is stored digitally, making it a tempting target for cyber criminals. Cybersecurity in banking involves a whole suite of fancy tools and techniques. We're talking firewalls, encryption, multi-factor authentication, and other terms that sound like they belong in a sci-fi movie. These aren't just big words to make IT guys feel important. They're the digital equivalent of guards, walls, and alarm systems protecting your money, because in the world of cybersecurity, we're all in this together. Section 5, the Rogues Gallery, Common Cyber Threats and Their Impact. Now let's meet the bad guys of the cyber world. No, I'm not talking about people who use Comic Sans, unironically, although they're pretty bad too. I'm talking about the various types of cyber threats that keep bank security teams up at night. First up, we have phishing. No, not the kind where you sit by a lake for hours hoping to catch a fish. This is the digital equivalent of someone pretending to be your bank and asking you to confirm your password over email. Phishing attacks can lead to identity theft faster than you can say Nigerian prince. Next on our list of cyber villains is malware. Short for malicious software, this is basically any program designed to wreak havoc on your computer. From keyloggers that record every keystroke you make to Trojans that open backdoors for hackers, malware is the Swiss Army knife of cybercrime. These threats aren't just annoying, they can have serious consequences. We're talking financial losses, identity theft, and in some cases, entire banks being brought to their knees. Section 6, Banks, Secret Weapons, Security Measures Unveiled. Now you might be thinking, John, this is all very scary. Is my money safer under my mattress? Well, unless your mattress has military-grade encryption and multi-factor authentication, probably not. Let's take a peek behind the curtain at some of the security measures banks use to keep your money safer than a germaphobe in a hazmat suit. First up, we have encryption. Encryption scrambles your data into an unreadable format that can only be decrypted with a special key. Even if a hacker intercepts your data, all they'll see is a jumble of characters more confusing than the plot of Inception. Next, we have multi-factor authentication, MFA. This is like the bouncer of the digital world, asking for multiple forms of ID before letting you into the club of your own account. It typically involves something you know, like a password, something you have, like your phone, and sometimes even something you are, like your fingerprint. Banks also use Secure Sockets Layer, SSL, encryption for online banking. This creates a secure tunnel for your data to travel through the internet, kind of like a VIP lane on the information superhighway. But perhaps the most important security measure is constant vigilance. Banks employ teams of cybersecurity experts who monitor their systems 24/7, looking for any suspicious activity. Section 7, the Robot Defender's AI in cybersecurity. Now let's talk about the new kid on the cybersecurity block, artificial intelligence. No, we're not talking about Skynet from Terminator or that creepy AI chatbot that tried to convince a New York Times columnist to leave his wife. We're talking about AI systems that are revolutionizing how banks protect your money. AI in cybersecurity is like having a psychic on your security team, but one that actually works. These systems can analyze vast amounts of data to detect patterns and anomalies that might indicate a cyber attack. These AI systems can spot a potential threat faster than you can say, "Why is there a $10,000 charge for inflatable alligators on my credit card?" But AI doesn't just detect threats, it can also respond to them. Some AI systems can automatically block suspicious activities or isolate affected systems to prevent the spread of an attack. AI is also getting pretty good at predicting future attacks. By analyzing past incidents and current trends, these systems can anticipate where the next threat might come from. This allows banks to shore up their defenses before the bad guys even know where to strike. But here's the catch. The bad guys are using AI too. It's like an arms race, but instead of missiles, we're dealing with algorithms. So while AI is making our banks safer, it's also creating new challenges. Section 8, be your own superhero, customer best practices. All right, listen up, because this is where you come in. Yes, you, the person reading this while procrastinating on something important. Banks can have all the fancy security in the world, but if you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as your password, you might as well be leaving your bank account details on a billboard in Times Square. So, let's talk about how you can be your own cybersecurity superhero. Cape optional, but highly recommended for dramatic effect. First things first, passwords. Your password should be harder to guess than the plot of a Christopher Nolan movie. No birthdays, no pet names, and for the love of all that is holy, no password 1, 2, 3. Use a mix of upper and lowercase, letters, numbers, and symbols. Make it long. Think of it as a passphrase rather than a password. And use different passwords for different accounts. If you're using the same password everywhere, you're one hack away from a very bad day. Next up, multi-factor authentication. Yes, I know it's annoying to have to enter a code from your phone every time you log in. You know what's more annoying? Having your life savings transferred to a hacker's account in Nigeria. So suck it up and enable MFA wherever you can. Now let's talk about public Wi-Fi. I know it's tempting to check your bank account while sipping a latte at your local coffee shop, but public Wi-Fi is about as secure as a screen door on a submarine. If you must use public Wi-Fi, use a VPN, and never ever do online banking or enter sensitive information on public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Lastly, keep your software updated.